Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Very excited for today's review. Bonesaw. Barrel-aged Bonesaw. This be their DÉMON Noir. Yeah, this is from a date we will find out when we read it. I love 2024. Just saw it right there. I love Bonesaw's barrel-aged offerings. I like their other beers too, but man, the last, anytime I see them, a new barrel-aged offering from them, I always pick it up. And I think the worst one I had was really good. There's been some absolutely stellar ones. And I saw this sucker, and I was like, DÉMON Noir. Okay. I know we're dealing with the barrel-aged beer. We have the bottle here. We have the foil top. Then we say barrel-aged. Okay, Belgian style. Say, what, son? Dark. Strong ale. Barrel-aged Belgians, baby. Whew. Yeah, I'm pumped to dive in this one. 11% alcohol by volume. On the side, we have cherry and apple brandy cask. Aged dark ale. So, cherry and apple brandy. Like two of my favorite barrels. So, even better. What do we got going on here? Like I said, 2024 version. As far as their description on the side, it says, DÉMON Noir is a Belgian-style dark strong ale built with layers of imported specialty malts and invert sugar syrup. The combination of yeast character and malt gives luscious notes of dark fruits and caramel. We further deepen these flavors by extensive aging in this beer for 2 years in imported cherry and apple brandy casks. I know you're not allowed to post pornography to the tubes. This is borderline. Borderline. Oh, and the hiss. So 2024. So at minimum, this beer is a couple months old, but chances are it's closer to a year. Label-wise, one of the first reviews I did at Bonesaw was actually me going, man, I don't buy Bonesaw stuff because I don't like the name of the brewery. That has changed. Just because I dig their beer so much, I like their labeling. Honestly, it's very classic kind of barrel-aged beer kind of labeling. So I dig on it. Where's my little cat going on here? I mean, it smells so good from a distance, man. Good God. So yeah, I dig on a labeling. As far as this beer goes, so man, I mean, you expect to have a decent carbonation on Belgian-based kind of beers in general. Barrel-aged ones can be quite difficult, but I'm just getting hit in the face by apple brandy and cherry brandy from this far away. So I think we're going to deal with a lot of volume on this sucker. That does not suck. But a beautiful head on it. It was a pinky finger before I started yammering way too much, and has this nice kind of malted malt ball color to it. As far as the beer, it definitely rings. Is it more mahogany? No, it's dark, man. It's a really deep, rich brown / mahogany mixture. But I have pretty bright lights, and I can't really get much of anything through it. So it's a very dense looking beer. It's a Belgian dark. Foots the bill and just looks the part, and especially that head on something that's been barrel aged for 2 years. Okay, the nose should know. Man, I love beer. I love beer. I love it. I love it. Man, it smells really good. And here's the thing about it. It smells rich and decadent, but the beer is still there. So I think you're getting a big presence from that apple / cherry cask. But the beer is not wanting here. The beer is not a distant second or third player. It is in the mix. So you get this, and since it is apple and cherry, more specifically cherry, it melds. Brandy, I should say, it melds really well with the core elements what you typically get from a nice Belgian beer with a lot of those fruity kind of phenolics on it. So, I mean, this is one of those ones where I could huff this for 20 minutes before drinking it. Not going to do that for the sake of the review, but it just has, I mean, cherry popping, apple brandy popping. It has that brandy kind of vibe to it. It has that little bit of sweetness elevated beyond what you typically get from like just a straight base whiskey. It's a little more cordially, you know, brandies tend to stick out that way, being that it's kind of a fortified wine as opposed to a liquor. You know, it tends to have this little bit of bump and added of sweetness, at least aromatically. They can be dry at times on the drink, but it has that little added bump of sweetness on the other thing. And Belgian dark through and through. I might lean a little bit more quaddy in its vibes. Maybe it's the fruit portion of the show here that's kind of making me lean in that direction. But you have that nice big Belgian, they say reverse sugar. That's kind of beet sugary. Belgian candied sugar kind of adding, again, a little bit of layer of different sweetness. Not added sweetness, but layered different sweetness, at least perceptually on the nose. And then you just have that kind of mix of those fruit esters that you're going to typically get from a Belgian yeastiness with this nice kind of chocolatey, without being overtly bittering kind of maltiness that adds a little bit of desserty vibes to it, and just your classic kind of Belgian dark / quad married with a sweeter liquor kind of vibe that I think pairs epically well, at least on the nose. We haven't gotten the taste yet, but we're going to do that right now because we don't want to wait. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's good. The finish is quite dry. That's really good. Really good. I'm going to temper things here a little bit. I thought I was going to be a little bit more hair and fire bonkers. It's a little bit more reserved here. But it makes sense for the style of beer, and it makes sense with the cask being used. You know, apple brandy, which I have decent experience with. Cherry brandy, not so much. I've had a couple cherry brandy barrel-aged beers, and they've all been stellar. There was a cherry barrel-aged mead I had up in a Shelton Brothers Fest in Buffalo. That was just bonkers. They both, I mean, you can tell that they're not overtly sweet cherries. You know, it kind of makes sense. You know, again, sherry fortified wine, it can skew sweet, but more often than not, they can finish a bit drier. And that's what you're getting on this. You're getting this really kind of not straight, fully attenuated drop-off dryness kind of thing, but you can tell the legwork that's being done by these brandy casks that are helping kind of finish this beer off. You have a lingeringness, a little bit of sticky, a little Belgian candied sugar, a little bit of sherry sticking around, but it just kind of just has this nice kind of ebb and flow of sweet and dry, sweet, fruity, dry, and then boom, dry, and it kind of cuts off at the end. It makes for a very interesting kind of roller coaster ride taste-wise. Again, the beer is a Belgian dark through and through. Again, we're dark leaning quaddy here, but I think that's kind of splitting hairs at the moment because all Belgian quads are darks, but not all darks are quads. Anyway. But you still get that nice, like, soft little chocolatey vibes. Think like, I mean, since we're dealing with the cherry cask here, it's thinking like cherry cordial liqueur kind of vibes. That's really what I'm getting as far as flavor profile from the Belgian malt base and that cherry kind of, the cherry cask. You throw in that apple brandy, it just adds this little bit of kind of muddled, in a good way, not in a negative way, kind of fruitiness. And then you go back to the Belgian side of things, you get the Belgian yeast, you bring a bit more of those fruits to it, a little bit more complex, maybe a little bit more kind of like banana, a little bit more kind of rich reddish fruits outside of just a generic kind of cherry. And then you have that Belgian yeast helping dry things out, along with that brandy. So they're doing double time. I think that's why this beer ends up being quite a bit drier than what you initially expect based off of the nose, because you thought it's going to be a little bit more sweet through and through. I enjoy that drier finish. It makes for infinitely more drinkable beer. And the surprise here is vanilla for me. I mean, I'm getting a decent amount of vanilla. I assume that's coming from the casks. It only adds as a component. It's not like over the top, like vanilla bean added, crazy fresh oaky kind of vanilla, but there's definitely this cool kind of vanilla vibe to it that adds just a slight different dimension, especially for a Belgian beer. Not that you can't get that from barrel-aged Belgian beers, but Belgian beers in general, it's not necessarily a flavor you associate with that. So when you get those multiple fruits, you're getting those fruits in the Belgian yeast, you're getting those fruits in the sherryness, you're getting the dryness from the Belgian yeast, you're getting a dryness from the sherry cask. You're probably getting a bit of oak tannins help dry that out too. You're sure you're going triple time on that dryness, and maybe that's why it's coming out with that really nice kind of dry finish. And then when you throw in the sweetness of the beer, that sweetness on the other side of that dryness of what you get from the sherry, and then pop that vanilla in there. It's a roller coaster of a ride of a barrel-aged beer. Again, knee-jerk, like I said, is it my favorite Bonesaw barrel-aged beers? No, I think there's like one or two that I would put above this, and they were like really wheelhouse beers for me. But again, I cut my teeth in Belgian beers, so this is something that I don't get a lot of. This kind of complex multi-barrel aged Belgian beer is very few and far between when it comes to breweries, let alone relatively small ones like Bonesaw. So to have them throw this stuff kind of out there and still producing in 2024, we're post-pandemic. Shit's going crazy. They haven't tightened their portfolio to make things that just make them a buck. You're throwing out apple cherry brandy cask Belgian darks in a bottle out into the ether of New Jersey. I love them for it. I absolutely love them for it. And honestly, it's one of the more complex and interesting and tasty. I don't want to dismiss the tastiness barrel-aged beers I've had in quite some time. And that's the point maybe I'm trying to make here is that, so many people nowadays lean heavily into, like, what makes a good barrel-aged beer is whiskey, stouts, and this chase of, it's got to be like Bourbon County. It's got to be like, Top and Goliath, Morning Delight. It's got to be like these core elements of these beers, and everybody's fighting for a position to get towards those. In combination with that, the fans, the beer drinkers, all are chasing the same kind of high. They're chasing the same kind of flavor profile. So that's where this one kind of jumps the shark a little bit, and to where I go, I just want to go, if you like barrel-aged beers, you'll love this. But I don't think that's the case, because I think there's a sect of people that just want that singular flavor profile when it comes to those barrel-aged beers. And Bonesaw can do it. They did it with their one beer. I don't forget which one it was. Omnithynth Music or something along those lines. You can go back and look at my Bonesaw reviews. They can do that. They can accomplish that. But this is a little bit more nuanced. It's a little bit more complex. I just think this beer has a little bit more going on there, where you have to appreciate the flavor profiles of what's going on in order to enjoy the beer a little bit more, rather than just bourbon and vanilla and beer. I'm not dismissing that. Listen, I buy barrel-aged whiskey beers, Sunday Morning Stout, BCBS on the reg. So I'm a fan of those beers. I just like this stuff too. It's a little bit of a knuckleball, a little bit of a curveball, something a bit different. But there's so many added different components and complexity and something like that. I think it's really a fun try for anybody out there that loves barrel-aged beer, give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. Especially small breweries like this. Bonesaw, small brewery, Jersey, if you're in Jersey. I bought this, and I know you can buy this in Newton at Whiskey Wine Traders, or at least Bonesaw stuff. This I picked up at ShopRite Byram Liquors in Byram. So if ShopRite Liquors might carry them, I don't know, but man, give them a whirl, man. Breweries like this need to stick around and are doing things like this, and I implore you to give them a whirl. Anyway, back to the review, instead of just telling you to buy good beer from small places. Absolutely fantastic. A cool take on a Belgian dark, and absolutely fun kind of mixture of casks and different things you can do with a Belgian dark, and just really, really fun beer. Multiple levels of depth and complexity. Is it one of the better barrel-aged beers I've had as of late? Yes. Mount Rushmore status? Yes. I'm putting it on there. It's not knee-jerk like this is that flavor profile I'm chasing. Like I said previously, I can be guilty of that too. But man, everything that's going on in this, I'm a fan. I'm here for it. Let's do it. Value and availability, I want to say it was pricey. Probably eking above $20. I think. I don't remember. But I think it's worth it. Small brewery doing great things. Fine by me. Value availability off the shelf, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like barrel-aged beers, more specifically, cool sherry casks. You love sherry casks. Apple brandy. I keep saying sherry, but apple brandy. And cherry brandy casks. Yeah. I keep saying brandy and sherry. I'm intermixing them. I apologize. And if you like Belgian darks, and you like barrel-aged Belgian darks, like I said, they don't come few and far. They come very few and far between. So if you dig on those, you'll dig this. Whew. That was a review in the books. Hopefully enjoyed. Massive Beers, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massif, podcasting stuff. Bonesaw, have you had their beers? Have you been to the brewery? Have you had this beer? What's your favorite Bonesaw beer? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of a wintry weather drinking. Wintry weather. I sound like Daffy Duck or something like that right there, or Sylvester the Cat or some one of those Looney Tunes. Dating myself. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.